She entered the conference room, its glass walls reflecting the bustling energy of StormCorp. The atmosphere froze the instant she entered. No designer bag, no high heels, no ostentatious watch. A solitary figure in scuffed shoes, hair tied back in a simple ponytail, clutching a modest folder to her heart. The HR director raised an eyebrow and whispered just audibly enough to cut, "She appears to have taken that outfit from a lost and found box." A sharply dressed man in a pinstripe suit, another contender, interjected without a moment's pause. "We are evaluating candidates, not seeking out charity cases." Joyful sounds danced around the space. The panel hardly took a moment to review her resume. I scanned her from head to toe as if she were an error left unaddressed. Yet Nina Taylor remained motionless. Maintained composure. Folder clutched tightly. The truth eluded them. Unbeknownst to them, the individual who constructed this company from its very foundation was her spouse. StormCorp's Silicon Valley stronghold towered majestically, a true giant among its peers. 50 stories of steel and glass, a technological stronghold that shaped the world to its desires. The interview room on the 40th floor exuded an aura of authority. A lengthy mahogany table stretches across the room, while expansive windows showcase the valley beyond, with screens softly buzzing with information. Nina entered at 30, her dark hair cascading in a ponytail, her hazel eyes shining with a soft warmth. She possessed a beauty that seemed to embody grace in every contour, yet her thrift store attire and worn flats set her apart as an outsider in this place. Hidden beneath that calm exterior was a brilliant intellect capable of shattering codes effortlessly and a spirit that remained unyielding. She had navigated a series of interviews for a leadership position. She dedicated her nights to perfecting the systems that had propelled StormCorp to greatness, yet they remained oblivious to her efforts. They perceived an insignificant figure in low-quality attire. The panel resembled a group of judges, 5 in total, their suits impeccably tailored, expressions as frigid as the glass surrounding them. Diane Brooks, the HR director, sat at the head of the table, her red blazer signaling authority, her blonde bob impeccably styled. Greg Palmer, a senior executive, reclined next to her, his Rolex gleaming, a pen spinning effortlessly between his fingers. Tyler Hensley, 28, a product of privilege, wore a suit that exuded wealth, his tie a luxurious silk accessory that tightened around his neck. Laura Chen, a data strategist, adjusted her sleek glasses, her lips forming a thin line of concentration. Mark Evans, the operations lead, lounged back with his arms crossed, his buzz cut catching the light in a striking manner. Hundreds had submitted their applications and now it was Nina against Tyler, yet their expressions conveyed that the battle was decided before it even began. Nina presented Diane with her resume, a simple sheet of white paper, devoid of embellishments, featuring only her name and a whisper of gentle breezes. Diane accepted it with a smirk, then casually slid it to Greg, not bothering to look his way. He tossed it aside with a scoff, dismissing it as unnecessary. The sheet slid across the surface, coming to a halt at an angle before Nina. Lacking pertinent experience, possessing a standard level of education, and pursuing an unrelated field of study. "Could you share your thoughts on why you believe you would be a good match for this company?" His tone was sharp, as if she had unleashed a torrent of disdain upon their floor. Nina stood tall, her voice steady. "I have dedicated 8 years to the development of scalable systems. My previous venture saw a 3-fold increase in revenue thanks to my strategic framework. I'm here because I can address challenges that StormCorp hasn't even identified yet." Tyler interjected with a chuckle. "Systems that can grow and adapt? What, like an app for a lemonade stand?" "This isn't a hire out of pity," Diane smirked. She seems to have a skewed perception, likely believing that a spreadsheet is cutting-edge technology. Laura inclined her body slightly, eager and attentive. "What is your educational background? What about sociology?" "This is StormCorp, not a gathering for literary discussions." Nina gave a slight nod. "It's a study of computer science centered around the principles of AI ethics." "I have released." Mark interrupted her sharply. "Is it published?" "Homework isn't what we require, it's the outcomes that matter. You're overwhelmed in this situation." She made another attempt. "My most recent endeavor reduced processing times by—" Tyler silenced her completely. "Hold on to those bedtime tales, little one. No one is making a purchase." Diane pressed on without hesitation. With a swift motion, she took a marker from the table and boldly inscribed the word "loser" across Nina's resume. The dark ink oozed out as she curled her lip in disdain. "Your title is now set," Tyler exclaimed with enthusiasm. "Sign it, frame it." As Greg applauded, she stood as a stunning embodiment of defeat. The audience erupted in applause. Devices ready, capturing the altered pages. And Nina stood there, the ink smudging beneath her fingertips as she grasped it. Her flats remained grounded, yet she held her composure. Simply allow the word to linger. Her tranquility a barrier against their malice. The poison coursed swiftly. Diane drummed her pen against the surface. You're squandering our precious air. Did you happen to find that skirt in a thrift bin? Greg let out a soft laugh. Her outfit gives off a vibe that's perfect for browsing through a flea market. Where can I find the haggling booth? Tyler reclined, allowing himself a moment of respite. Have you ever laid eyes on a boardroom? Perhaps in a comedy series. Their laughter echoed through the space. Cutting, merciless, a group encircling. Nina maintained her composure. I'm here to discuss credentials, not attire. Diane let out a dramatic sigh. What are the qualifications? Darling, you haven't laid a finger on any weed. Laura wore a sly grin. Consider retail, it aligns perfectly with that vibe. Mark smiled broadly. Indeed, remain at the lowest level. This is the major leagues, not a fundraising event. Laura raised the stakes. With a swift motion, she seized a stapler and launched it at Nina's papers, the sharp metal teeth puncturing through as she let out a sharp hiss. Let's dismantle the fantasy. Mark chuckled heartily. Resume with holes. As Diane smirked, it perfectly aligned with her lack of intellect. The pages ripped apart, staples flying across the table, and Nina crouched down to collect them. Her hands remained steady even with the sting, yet Laura pushed them off the edge. Garbage remains below. Her silence stood as an impenetrable barrier. They gathered in force. Greg rose to his feet. Let's add some flair. An unexpected examination. Currently engaged in logic and coding. Only pen and paper, no laptop. Demonstrate your authenticity. He thrust a hefty bundle in her direction. 10 pages. Challenges tangled like intricate knots, the sort that would shatter the resolve of many programmers. Nina accepted it, her hands unwavering. Understood. She leaned down towards it. Ink gliding across the page. Equations, loops, proofs flowed effortlessly as if she had experienced them all firsthand. 5 minutes passed by. Tyler let out a loud yawn. Diane perused her phone. Laura muttered, she's jotting down gibberish. Nina pushed it back into place. Completed. Greg seized it, glanced at a corner, then tore it apart. Unhurried. Consider with intention. The terror echoes in the stillness. He discarded it into the waste bin. Just the essentials? You're far from the mark. Complete waste. Tyler pushed the boundaries. He seized the water pitcher from the table and poured it over Nina's head. The frigid deluge drenched her blouse and skirt while he mocked her. Take a breather, visionary. Greg let out a hearty laugh. She's in quite a state now. As Laura captured a photo. Trending treasure. Water cascaded down her face, gathering at her flats. Nina blinked, her eyes adjusting to the cold that surrounded her. Her ponytail stuck fast. Yet she remained unperturbed. Simply remained in place. Her strength was an unquenchable flame. Diane seized her phone. Immediate protection is essential. Warning, intruder detected. Tyler chuckled. Guide her to the exit. She casts a shadow over the space. Mark wore a sly grin. Be careful, darling. 2 guards burst through the door. Large dark polo shirts. Shiny emblems reflecting light. One seized her arm. Another person abruptly pulled her folder away. Mark took it to the next level. With a swift motion, he seized Nina's folder from her grasp and ripped it apart, scattering the contents everywhere. The remnants danced through the air like confetti as he shouted. Authenticity is paramount. Diane exclaimed with joy. Shatter her aspirations. As Tyler flung a pen in her direction. Save your tale of woe for another audience. The torn fragments fell to the ground. Her efforts lay in ruins. Nina knelt down to gather them. Her fingers remained steady, yet Mark crushed them into the carpet. Remain where you are, no one. Her serenity was an unyielding fortress. Move, the first commanded. A low growl in their voice, pulling her toward the entrance. Nina chose not to engage in conflict, just took a stroll, quiet as a whisper, expression steady as Tyler raised his voice. The mailroom is currently seeking new hires. The door banged shut, their laughter trickling through, and the elevator consumed her, embarrassed, yet her spine remained unyielding. Greg encapsulated the embarrassment. With a swift motion, he wrenched the trash can from beneath the table and upended it over Nina while the guards dragged her away. Coffee grounds and crumpled paper cascaded around him as he sneered. This is your rightful place. Laura chuckled softly. The garbage girl's journey is complete. As Diane applauded, Ideal getaway for a con artist. The stain adhered stubbornly to her damp blouse, residue clinging to her hair. Nina brushed it aside. Her flats were slipping, yet she remained unbroken. Just took a stroll. Her hazel eyes were steely. She confronted their cruelty like a tempest, unwavering in her resolve. The story continued beyond that point. Diane leaned in as Nina walked by, hissing softly. Your humor is quite amusing. Return to the grill and start flipping those burgers again. Greg sent a paper clip sailing through the air towards her. Here is your bonus. Utilize it judiciously. It ricocheted off her shoulder, tumbling to the ground with a clatter. Tyler rose to his feet. Hold on, let's send her off properly. He seized a coffee cup from the table. Half full, it spilled coldly across her blouse. The brown stain spreads rapidly. Your storm is here, Corp. Greetings. He mocked as Laura applauded. Flawless. She has now created her masterpiece. Nina brushed her cheek clean. The coffee drips steadily, yet I remain unfazed. Continued on my path. The guards exerting more force. The lobby struck her with an unexpected force. Marble shines brilliantly. Workers in a flurry of activity. Unaware of the woman in soiled gray being led away. The sentinels remained relentless. One pushed against her shoulder. Continue onward. As the others discarded her folder into a bin near the exit. Stay away. He let out a sharp sound as the glass doors swung open. Nina emerged into the warm embrace of the sunlight. Coffee staining her shirt. Resume discarded. Yet her hazel eyes remained unclouded. She had encountered greater challenges than this. Years of relentless effort, demonstrating her worth in spaces that resisted her presence. This was not a matter of pride. It was a reflection of all the spirits they had shattered prior to her arrival. She retrieved her phone from her pocket. Called Elias. It is I. Turned out poorly. His voice grew tense. How terrible. She conveyed it to him. Serene. Not a single tear. The brew. The examination. The sentinels. I am on my way, he remarked. At this moment, the dawn arrived, accompanied by a tempest of its own making. The executive floor of Storm Corp hummed with activity. A critical gathering. No alert. Show no compassion. Executives filed into the boardroom. 30 of those. Suits crisped. Expressions strained. Shareholders are watching closely. A live broadcast reaching investors across the globe. The room was a battlefield poised for an explosion. Endless stretches of mahogany tables. Illuminated displays. The valley stretches out beneath. Diane took her place at the front. Immaculate blazer. Greg spun his pen with a thoughtful air. Tyler reclined comfortably. Thank you for your feedback. Laura shifted her spectacles with a delicate touch. Mark glanced at his watch. They believed it was a maneuver for dominance. Advancements. Increases. A chance to take center stage. Suddenly, the doors burst open and the world shifted dramatically. Elias Storm entered with purpose. Lofty. 42. Dark hair fading to gray at the edges. Black suit, cutting and precise. Eyes like frozen sapphires. The elusive CEO of Storm Corp. A self-made billionaire who emerged from humble beginnings. A child from the trailer park programming on an old library computer. Transforming remnants into a dominion that commanded the technological horizon. Respected in executive suites from Shanghai to London. He had lingered like a specter for months. Operating behind the scenes. All rose to their feet. The sound of chairs scraping against the floor. Breaths held. Nina walked alongside him. That same blouse still stained. Identical skirt. Softly tapping flats. The ponytail dances gently. Her hazel eyes remained steadfast. Expressions hollowed. Diane's pen broke with a sharp crack. Greg's in disarray. Tyler diminished. Laura's spectacles became clouded. Mark gasped for breath. Elias came to a halt. Spoken with a chilling serenity. Take a seat. They fell with a heavy thud. He examined them closely. This team had a singular responsibility. Assess individuals for leadership potential to identify those prepared to advance. However, yesterday you did not conduct an interview with a candidate. He took a moment to reflect. The silence cuts through the air. Then she turned to Nina. You have offended my wife. Gasping breaths filled the atmosphere. Diane's hand trembled. Greg's jaw dropped in disbelief. As Tyler settled into his chair, it let out a familiar squeak. Elias moved in closer. Nina and I constructed Storm Corp from the ground up. 2 impoverished youths. Rest eludes me. Insufficient funds. I connected the hardware. She created the AI. Every system you capitalize on. The essence of her thoughts lies at the core. You didn't merely overlook a resume. You brought shame upon the woman I cherish above all others. He gestured. Diane, Greg, Tyler, Laura, Mark, please reiterate your previous statement from yesterday. At this moment, dear board members, the air in the room thickened. Diane hesitated. Her words caught in her throat. I did not. Elias made a cut on her. No evasion. Express yourself. A technician tapped the display. Surveillance video. Unfiltered and intense. Diane's sharp intake of breath. She resembles a candidate seeking a part-time position. Tyler's laughter echoed through the room. Cleaning services. Where can I find the mop? Greg's disdainful expression. Unfamiliar with the field. Incorrect field of study. Laura's remark. Consider exploring the retail sector. Mark's witty remark. In over her head. Once more it's Greg. Tired for the flea market. The conclusion of Tyler's journey. The mailroom is currently looking to hire. The atmosphere in the boardroom became tense and still. Shareholders have transitioned. Investors scrutinized the feed intently. The words, a somber toll, echoing through the silence. Diane's red blazer had become a shroud now. Her marker resembled a noose. She had tarnished the reputation of the woman whose code powered their empire. Her hands trembled as she confronted the board. Her self-satisfied hiss echoed for countless listeners. Her career lay in ashes. Greg's Rolex hung there, devoid of purpose. The coffee splashed, creating a chain reaction. He had immersed himself in the intellect that fueled their earnings. And the refuse he discarded consumed him. His name erased from memory. Tyler's pinstripe suit draped listlessly. His water release left a mark. He saturated the essence of Storm Corp. And the gates of his dynasty closed with a resounding finality. His laughter echoed like a specter as investors mocked. The screen etched their shame into the annals of history. Each disdainful glance, each thrust, a final blow to their demise. Nina's subtle assent, their executioner. Elias remained unperturbed. You ripped apart her exam. Executed flawlessly, quicker than you could ever imagine. You spilled coffee. Security was summoned. Repeat that, please. Diane's lips trembled. I am unable to do that. Tyler gazed down at his shoes. Silence. Greg's voice was rough. Error. Laura murmured softly. We were unaware. Mark rasped. I apologize. Elias inclined closer. Apologies mean little. You revealed your true self to me. Petite. Harsh. Unseeing. Storm Corp does not handle waste. He gave a subtle nod to the security personnel. Identical sentinels. Identical polos. Embrace them. They have completed their task. The atmosphere thickened with tension as the guards advanced. Diane's blazer trailed behind her. Greg's Rolex swayed gently. Tyler's tie drooped. Laura's spectacles slid down her nose. Mark's buzz cut curved gracefully. The aftermath was a blazing inferno. Diane, Greg, Tyler, Laura, Mark, dismissed immediately. Badges torn apart. Stepped forward as the audience observed. Shareholders in agreement. Investors scribbling intense observations. Laura's glasses failed to conceal her tumble. Her staples carry a burden. She had completely dismantled the work of Storm Corp's architect. And now her resume lay discarded. Her self-satisfied images became a viral affliction as the industry rejected her. Mark's buzz cut sat close to his scalp, his folder ripping a mark. He had torn asunder the woman who had crafted their reality. And his stomp reverberated as he reached the depths. Imploring next to Greg as Nina's coin shimmered in his hand. The stillness of the boardroom echoed with their downfall. Each chuckle, each incision, a boomerang that shattered them. Elias composed fury and Nina's unwavering stare. The sound of the gavel striking the surface. Their personal expressions. The noose that claimed their lives. They were blacklisted by StormCorp. Names ignited throughout the industry. No company would consider them. Resumes torn to pieces. Calls have been blocked. LinkedIn profiles lack engagement. Diane's blazer found its way to a thrift rack. Greg pawned his Rolex to cover the rent. Tyler was cast out from his lineage. Laura's spectacles were traded for bits and pieces. Mark's confidence shattered into fragments. Their titles, their reputations, their very existence wiped away in an instant. All for derision at a rain-soaked downtown station. Rush hour chaos. Umbrella snapping. Greg Palmer leaned heavily against the wall. Once an executive at StormCorp, currently sporting a rugged look. Ripped coat. A cardboard sign trembling in his grasp. I would appreciate your assistance. His Rolex had vanished. His sneer lingered like a distant whisper. His fingers quivered in the chill. The sound of heels echoed. Nina, her hair still tied back in that ponytail. Currently adorned in a navy coat. Her presence was a subtle tempest. She had just delivered a keynote address at an AI ethics summit. Her voice shaped the future while his shattered into fragments. She hesitated. She delved into her pocket. Retrieved a quarter. Radiant. Chilly. And placed it gently into his palm. It shimmered. The man who had torn apart her exam now grasping her coin tightly. She locked her gaze with his. A subtle smile dancing at the edges. Then continued onward. Footsteps echo rhythmically. Her strength resonates like a quiet storm. That coin wasn't out of sympathy. It was a matter of fairness. Chilling and incisive. Nina felt no need to raise her voice. She allowed their decay to consume them. She had crafted the very essence of StormCorp. And they had contemptuously spat on it. Until Elias reduced everything to cinders. In that moment, she rose with confidence as they descended into the depths. A lesson etched in their descent.